Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Brett Pike, and it's time to talk homeschool. Or in this case, Unschool, the unicorn of the homeschooling community. You have to teach children to read and write. Come on guys, unschoolers teach their children all of these things, but they do it in a dramatically different way. And they do it by channeling into the natural motivation of their children, which is such a powerful concept, because for any parent that's tried to sit their child down and teach them a subject that the child wanted no part of, you know how difficult that could be. Well, imagine you sat down with your child and they were interested. They wanted to learn. That's the idea behind unschooling. We follow the interest of our children. We use that interest to embed what we want them to know, to develop real skills for the real world, and ultimately to guide them toward entrepreneurial experience. And today we're going to give a real example using art of what that could look like. Well, does that mean I use no curriculum at all? Well, it could be different for every child. For some homeschools, they completely unschool. They follow the interest of that child at all times. Me, myself, I advocate more of a eclectic version of unschooling, which is we still follow the interest of our children. We still use that to channel into their natural motivation, teach them skills, and get them entrepreneurial experience. But I like to mix and match and also teach them the classical trivium, to incorporate some of the concepts of Montessori, of Charlotte Mason, and use the best of many different homeschooling styles. But as I always tell parents, there's no one right way to educate your child. You have to figure out what works for your child, their learning style, and what works for your family, and ultimately that will be the right way to educate them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's say your child loves art. How can you unschool that child? Well, I'm going to give you one very concrete example. It's actually a lesson plan that we're doing in Homeschools Connected, my private homeschool community. So you have a child interested in art, and you introduce them to free courses on 21 Draw Space, or maybe you have them take David Garrett's free graphic design course, or you find a couple of YouTube channels and have them follow along as they paint, and they start to develop their skills as an artist. This is where we start to challenge them, guide them, and embed what we want them to learn. So one day your child's drawing, they're doing their art, and you say, wouldn't it be fun to design your own shoes? Oh, well, yeah, that could be fun. Well, I was just at Five and Below, and they had shoes that we could buy for $5, and you could design your own shoes and make them. So your child's interested, they want to do it. You print a picture of a shoe, you have them design the shoe, you go to Five and Below, and you buy one shoe, one prototype, and then you have them use Sharpies or paint or gems, but you have them make their own custom shoe. And you show them that they could take something, add their artistic ability to it, and make something beautiful. And then the next step is to show them that they created something valuable. So you could go onto job listings and look for shoe designers and see all of the jobs that are available for shoe designers. And then you open up a world of possibilities in their mind of things they can do with their future. But then we want to teach them to be the entrepreneur, or as I like to call it, the art-trepreneur. I can't tell you how happy I was to deliver that line. But you have your child brainstorm and list 3 separate locations that they could potentially sell their shoes if they were to make more of them. And that might be Etsy, that might be Facebook, that might be a local farmer's market, that might be a mom and pop clothing store in town. And whichever route they want to go, you could then guide them. So if they want to make an Etsy account, that's self-explanatory. If they want to sell their shoes in a mom and pop clothing store, maybe you teach them about making a sales pitch. But once they decide they want to sell their shoes and they figure out where to sell their shoes, you start to add wrinkles. You start to challenge and guide that child. So the next step could be learning about web design so that they can make a website in which they highlight their shoes. Then they could learn about graphic design so they could really make their web page pop. They could learn about digital illustration so that they could design their shoes on the computer. They could read books about social media marketing, make an Instagram page, and start to do some real marketing in the real world. They could read books about financial literacy. But ultimately what we want to do is take their interest in art, guide them to develop skills in drawing, painting, graphic design, taking a product, bringing it to market, making a sales pitch, marketing, financial literacy, skills. You use the one skill your child has, follow their interest, get them entrepreneurial experience, and then use that experience to develop more skills. Well, what if your child doesn't want to be an artist in 10 years? That's the beautiful thing about it. We're not educating them to be a shoe designer or to be an artist. We're educating them in the skills of drawing, in the skills of graphic design, in the skills of taking a product and bringing it to market, in web design, in social media marketing or marketing in general. We're teaching them about financial literacy. We are giving them a skill set that could be generalized to other areas or other endeavors which will inevitably come up, and they could follow their later interest and use the skills they already have to keep growing as a person. And ultimately, that's what a worthy education is all about. Giving our children the skills and the experience that they need to be free and independent people so that when they're 18 years old, they're not reliant on the government, they're not reliant on corporations, and they're not even reliant on you as the parent. An education worthy of freedom. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section. I'm actually going to be making videos to answer your questions. Please smash the like button. It really helps me reach more people. And of course, I would love to see you in Homeschools Connected, my private homeschool community in which you get access to not only the community, but all of the curriculum, all of the lesson plans, the unit studies, pre-recorded courses, and live courses I put together. The future is what we make it. The future is bright. I'll see you next time.